to make this Angela the center of the map alongside the Farsa, alongside the Baksha work out. But they could potentially snowball out of this. Unless Onic PH just shows why their lineup is easier to pull off. LaFell and Leo take us into Game 5.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Welcome to the final game in this Onic versus Onic series. Still LaFell as well as Leo calling the final game to see who is the better Onic. Is it the one from Indonesia or Philippines?
What a way to wet the senses to prep for our grand finals. Then to get two of the best teams in all of MLBB esports right now to put on a clinic of what is possible in the current metagame to take us all the way.
We've seen Assassin versus Assassin throughout this best of 5, and now they're ending up with the utility junglers, the Fredrin as well as the Boxia. So prepare for a macro-heavy game here, especially Super Prince getting that Louis again. But Sans and Keyboy having a very good burst mid. I don't know how this will turn out.
Not to mention the resistance of the Moskov in the hands of Kelra. So there's so many ways that Onic PH can get to Onic ID, but it's not like Onic ID are throwing blanks. You know what I mean? They have the Angela. They also have the Farsa that can wings by wings out. Not to mention the Baksha Unite from Kyrie. So already, I assume that as soon as these teams hit level 4, then they're going to try to do stuff on the map.
I gotta say, for Onic ID, they have a second winning condition, which is waiting for that Flash of the Oasis. And now Lupi going up against Kirk. Looks like both are really heavily trading against each other. So now we're seeing the roamers coming down to rotate. They're taking quite a lot of damage, but should be fine here.
Yep. These early engagements from these bruisers in the EXP lane demand attention and additional effort from the other parts of the map. And again, how does this happen, LaFell, that for the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes of every single game in this best of 5, the gold laners get a gold lane experience? That just seems to be an Onic versus Onic standard.
At this point, it's a gentleman's agreement. It's like, can we all agree that only four of us are going to play for the first 5-10 minutes, and then afterwards, if they feel like it, hey, they can join in. Speaking of, right now, the Turtle has spawn. Onic Philippines looks like they're in control.
Brusco overshooting quite a bit, forcing a flicker now from Super Prince as Ludwig gets to the back line. Kyrie secures the first Turtle. Brusco goes down, gets punished for his odd positioning. Now the Heart Guard, Lutpi, he's in. That's 4 members of Onic ID pushing forth into Onic PH's jungle. Can King Kong clutch this? Doesn't have a retribution. Kyrie rolling up. The SOD by Kelra. Won't be pressing the button. They let off. Too much pressure. Too much of a risk if things go sideways. If Onic gets it. And that's a steal! Grand Theft Purple in the worst possible way. Sans! Gila Sans gets it!
The moment you think it's safe, it's really not. Now Kirk having to use the Vengeance, trying to get out of this predicament. Looks like he's able to get out of it. Onic ID, they basically won everything in the first 3 minutes.
Brusco, quick slam here. The flicker, the tsunami slam. Not enough damage from Prince just yet. Keyboy survives. Kyrie helps with a puissance. It's all going Onic ID's way.
Yep, even Severo getting that gold crab, earning just a little bit more for himself. Now that Severo has level 4, might be a little bit more aggressive going up against this Moskov. Now looks like the Louis.
All right, here comes the diversion as well. The rest of Onic PH come through. Ludwig gets taken down. That's the first on the board for the Super Fam.
Yep, but still, I think in terms of punish, that was actually a very good punish because the minion waves were coming through. So there's a lot of EXP that Lupi is going to be missing out on. And it won't feel the pressure now, but it will definitely feel in the second Turtle. To the point where I have to think, even Lupi is thinking whether he should join the fight or just push the lane. Try to play the side lanes going up against Onic Philippines, especially with this Louis on the map.
And now suddenly, the gentleman's agreement between Kelra and Severo have to be disrupted. The Turtle will be spawning on that half of the map. Brusco first to the scene, unless Kyrie has something to say about it. Kyrie and Severo first to the pull. Sans holding that fence brush. Now the diversion. Turtle at about 10th of its health. Sans helping burst it down. Onic PH couldn't even react.
The decision coming in from Onic ID, making it so that it's not a dance. Just a straight up take. Now Onic ID with roughly around 2,000 gold ahead going up against Onic Philippines. But again, I feel like for both teams, the gold lead doesn't really impact that much because both composition doesn't really have a big snowball with that kind of gold.
Kyrie jumps Kirk, forcing that vengeance. In the protection of tier 2, Kirk will survive. Kelra throwing out that SOD in case his XP laner needs a little bit of help. Onic ID, huge rotation. Not leading to much. I mean, they chunked a bit of that energy shield down bottom, but that's a good save for Onic PH.
And this is what a Farsa can really afford you. A lot of pressure down in the early game. And now Kara getting that turret. So honestly, a very good trade coming in for both teams. The goalie doesn't really change much. And now the diversion just to give more farm over to Kelra. At this point, they're just hyper-farming Kelra, making it so that he gets all the minions.
That's right. Double laning on a Moskov with very low effort with the help of the diversion. Kyrie and Savero holding this brush. I think Kelra's aware.
Yeah, but at this point, Keyboy having the Flash of the Oasis, that's a big power spike for the entire team of Onic Indonesia because it makes it so that the next turtle, if they choose to go for a fight, they're at a very big advantage because at this point, I feel like Onic Philippines, they don't really have any anti-heal.
Yep, not a single turtle yet going over to Onic PH. They're doing their darndest to protect this tier 1 up top, but Onic ID will go ahead and shrink the real estate Onic PH is allowed to play in. They've taken this XP lane fight to the mid lane because again, this is a lot of pressure coming from Onic. They're now building up to a 3k gold lead up to this last turtle.
The saving grace here is both Kirk as well as Kara is having a relatively good time, still able to farm up. No deaths yet for both Kara as well as Kirk. Super Prince as well, not involved so much, but again, not punished. So this is a situation where Onic Philippines, they're losing, but honestly not by much. This is still a comebackable game coming in from Onic Philippines.
Yep, this is a controlled amount of losses that Onic PH are giving. Call it a margin of error that they're working with in the early game. 100% turtle take rate for the Sky Kings. Yet Onic PH, they don't look so sweated. They don't look so troubled. And now in comes Brusco, looking for one hit with a Tsunami Slam. Zaman forced out of Savero. Curtain call. He's not able to dash on through forward. Brusco flickers back. King Kong holding the line. Ooh, that is an Appraiser's Wrath, forcing a hard guard on Savero. In comes one from the side. That's Lutpi looking for damage. Instead, Kirk gets taken down. Brusco follows Sue. The Super Fam are crumbling. They put in so much effort, and all they got out of that was the top lane. They traded 2 bodies for the top lane tier 2.
They tried to punish the Boxia's worst nightmare, which is checking the bush in mid. So many moments there, but hold on, Kelra getting targeted by Luke.
Oh!
Gets the kill onto Kelra.
KO.
That was an amazing move coming in from Lupi, but yeah, Onic Philippines, they tried to use that bush to their advantage to get them, but again, this is one of the strengths of having an Angela. The moment you feel like you're out of the match, she brings you back in. And all this while, again, this is a very scrappy team fight, but the fact that Onic ID, they have heal, Onic Philippines, they have heal as well. It became very extended and eventually giving enough time for Lupi to get that flank angle onto Kelra.
Onic PH may have overestimated their margin of error. Now Kirk is in trouble. No one can save him here. Lutpi gets another kill. In comes the rest of Onic PH, but it might be too little, too late. This Angela Baksha is capable of so much more than just brute forcing its way into team fights. Again, concrete example is that last engage in mid. They feigned the Kumar bush and said, no, it's not us who's in trouble, it's you.
This is what my mom always says. Behind every successful fight, there's an Angela behind there. Heck, sometimes she takes the kill.
I need the stats on how good Angela is in MSC. It's interesting that she did not get banned here. Now the dance begins. Onic ID, definitely the favored one. Onic PH, I don't know what they're thinking, trying to contest. King Kong taking this long brush down bottom. Federer strike already. Lord at a 10th of itself, a 16th, a 20th. Ooh. King Kong with a steal! He's happy with what he got. He's just gonna waste Onic ID's time crossing the long way, forcing a response. Onic ID will definitely punish him here, but at the cost of a Lord from out of their nose, I'd say it's worth it.
It was 100% worth it. This feels like an AOT moment where they just ask King Kong's like, go and die, but get that Lord from us. A bit of a mistake coming in from Kyrie, using the retribution a little bit too early. You saw that slither of health linger there for a very long time, allowing King Kong to get that. But hey, those are the kind of mistakes that differentiates 100,000 US dollars.
If I'm not mistaken, Kyrie just used, King Kong just used the first skill, didn't even retribution.
No.
He was waiting for the threshold and instead made that nanosecond call to go, I will not retribution, I will just use my first skill. And he got away with it. And I guess that does help the map equalize. It did enhance this initial wave that was coming out from Onic. So yeah, this allows for the Super Fam to be a little more proactive. Feigning a diversion there keeps the gold lead at a manageable 4K.
Something to consider as well. Kara now has the Trinity build here. Diversion. Trying to figure out whether they want to go for it or not. Kyrie going into the bush.
Here we are.
Diversion is going to be used. Oh, they're bringing him in! Straight into the inhibitor!
That's dirty! Very well orchestrated. A freak of MLBB nature. You see the smile on Kirk's face. Can't believe they fell for that one. Kyrie forced to take a dirt nap from what could only be called an RG experiment done on the grandest stage of them all.
Can I just say, this, we can now make a compilation of every international of where the Baxia just goes inside a bush and then just escalates to become worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't think we'll see anything more dirty than that one. But hey, knowing the MLBB community, they'll figure something out.
You know what? After what happened,
Oh, look at this.
to Kyrie's Baxia and M5, this is just but a flesh wound. It's hilarious, I'll tell you that.
That's hilarious, yeah.
No one saw it coming up until it happened, but now we know it's possible. Now you know you can do it.
Hey, that's a TikTok reel.
It's waiting to happen. How many remixes?
I think that will stay all the way to M10. But either ways, right now, Onic Philippines, it's like, yes, they only got 2 kills, but I feel like they won. Right? I feel like in this situation, Onic ID, they're in full control. But Onic PH, they kind of won. Now, looking at items as well, having the Garden Helmet for King Kong, making it easier for him to move around the Lord, which is spawning around their side of the map. Kelra at this point is just waiting for that Malefic gun, and at that point, we gotta wait for Kelra to make a play. He's farming up, trying to get that level 15, making sure that he hits every single power spike available. But something to keep in mind as well, Savero is on the way for... Forget the item's name, but more Spellvamp, man. And now the Malefic
Concentrated
gun has...
energy.
Thank you very much, Leo.
Yeah. This is just a fight waiting to happen. Not even breaking out into full-on dance. Kyrie forced to use the poisons already. Kelra pushing down bottom. Zaman force here on Savero plus the heart guard from Keyboy. And they crash on to Kelra. Tsunami slam away. King Kong with the Appraiser drives retribution. No one hit by the SOD, so Kelra's going to have to take the walk of shame, but it's all right. Ain't no shame in doing your job. He pushed all the way into that inhibitor down bottom. Onic PH suddenly have the map on their side despite the 4K goal disadvantage.
Onic PH got the cake and eat it too. They got the inhibitor, they got the Lord, they got the psychological damage onto Onic Indonesia.
The Super Fam walked into Onic ID's room and said, Mom said I can have your bed. And laid in it for a month. Onic ID is now wondering where it all went wrong because they had everything under control. They even sent Sans home to defend, but they still lost that turret. And now they're looking at a simultaneous wave push. All three coming in, a Lord down bottom. They're going to lose everything here.
Game 5 is solid proof of why brothers always fight. And now, Onic Philippines, if you look at the score, you would think they're behind, but look at this. They're almost inside the base of Onic Indonesia.
Brusco
just fainting, not going in just yet. The Lord is going to be handled by Savero.
Oh, there's a conceal. Lutfi thrown out a few punches. Champion stats already used. The knockout punch not going to keep him alive, but the heart guard will. But for how long? He's down. Super Prince takes him. So does the inhibitor. It goes down. The next stop, the base, maybe the top lane inhibitor. Kyrie eating a lot of damage from Onic PH. It's a bare base for the Sky Kings. They have to defend.
And now, one minion, they're able to deal with that. But now the other minion wave is coming in. It's coming down mid.
4v5, feathered airstrike plus a Zaman force. The isolation from Brusco. Use the Purify. Savero is down. Kyrie and Sans. Keyboy 2 left to defend. Kyrie eating a lot. Heart Guard keeping him alive, but it's over. The Super Fam prove to be the supreme Onic. They are the third placers of MSC.
And now the Onic conversation has ended.